All right, guys. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and hope you're having amazing Ramadan. And here we go with another presentation, inshallah. I have something great for you guys today, and I think if you really choose to take some notes, this is going to be great. So I just want to start off by saying that congratulations on an amazing month and making it to this month, and to you and your families. And here we go. So if you could take some good notes, make sure you do that. I'm going to share my presentation. I'll do a little recap of what I did yesterday. Then what I'll do is I'll kind of show you how it's going to transition from that point. And today I'm going to be talking about some of the things that has to do with confidence, self-confidence, self-efficacy, and self-esteem, and how they connect across the board. So let's get going. Let me share my screen here with you guys. So here we go. All right. So today, on a general level, we're going to start by going through this, and this is something that's again, if you have someone who's younger, someone who's let's say anywhere 12 and up, this is the thing you want to set up, because guys, at the end of the day, there is I just need everybody to know that there's a psychological war, and you need to understand that. And psychological war meaning it's a war of ideas, and the war of ideas really stating that people are paying millions and millions and millions of dollars for ads to buy real estate in your mind, and that real estate is going to be a space of an idea, and they put the house, which is the idea, on that real estate. And when they do that, now they own that space in your mind. Think of any logo, any brand, anything, Nike. Did you put that in your mind purposefully? No, you didn't. So any branding, anything like that. So I have a heavy marketing background, so I understand a lot of this stuff and branding. So in psychology, it's called primacy, and the way you're primed, and in terms of how the mind connects thoughts and ideas in terms of your kind of networks within your brain. So ultimately, there is that. So if you have a kid that's growing up, if you have somebody who's there, please bring them and have them watch some of this stuff, because I'm going through a lot of self-development kind of lectures and presentations. And these are things that are really needed across the board. These are the things that they don't teach you about in school. They teach you about how to build skills, but they don't teach you how to apply skills. So this is really telling you how to apply skill. And the kind of general theme is going after self-esteem in terms of who you are. So every night I'm going to hit on that for the next 30 nights. So, or the length of Ramadan. So we're already 2-3 days in. So really follow this. If you're really a person who's struggling with your own self-worth, with your own understanding of who you are, with your identity, any of these levels, you're going to gain so much information in the next maybe 3 weeks that you can really change your life. And this is the month to change your life and to create that resistance between you and temptation. So here we go. Take some really good notes, and we'll begin. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبو القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So today, guys, I'm going to take you through pretty much what confidence is, but ultimately, where does it stem from? And then I'm going to dig in, and I'm going to show you how self-efficacy, self-confidence, and self-esteem really all tie in together. And when that happens, you're going to see where the core of self-esteem is and how it connects all together. So what I gave yesterday was, we talked about that when someone hands you freedom to choose, which Allah Azza wa Jal has given us that, He's given us choice. Allah has handed us responsibility. Our ultimate responsibility is our own soul. We're responsible for our soul. And Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, your soul is so precious that you shouldn't trade it for anything but heaven. That's the only something that would equate to your soul. So really think about that. And then So when someone hands you freedom, they're handing you responsibility, and responsibility, we said, requires discipline. Discipline is doing the boring stuff before the fun stuff. That's what we talked about yesterday. And we went, if you want, the lectures will be up on YouTube. But yesterday's lecture was mainly about that. Now, and then by the end of the lecture, by the end of the presentation, we saw that depending on your outcomes, and if you create a positive outcome when you try to do something and your ability is tested, let's say you're taking an exam, you're going to get a result, which is a score. Okay. Then from there, what's going to happen is if the score is negative or positive, it's going to be positive self-esteem or negative self-esteem. So we said your ability is connected to self-esteem. Tonight, I'm going to take that further. I'm going to show you how these things work. So I'm going to take you through these 3 levels. I'm going to give you some facts of why you pursue social media, you pursue stature, you pursue maybe even academics, you pursue perfection, you pursue dress and the importance of an outwardly fashion aspect. You start dressing up maybe in clothes that you shouldn't dress up, or you put on makeup way too much. And they say, why are you vying for attention? We're going to talk all about that tonight. So if you're like that and you're a person who's, always trying to seek that aspect, I'm going to show you why. And I'm going to give you really hard kind of science right in the beginning to show you what that is. It's a passage within one of just the top professors in the psychological industry. And then from there, I'm going to take you through self-confidence, self-esteem, self-efficacy. And when we do that, by the end, you're going to be able to get an equation to actually see how much you really like yourself. And it's very simple, very like you're going to have to add 2 numbers, and you just have to be honest with yourself, and you'll be able to see how much you really like yourself as a person. All right, so here we go, guys. Let's begin in terms of what we're doing. And the first thing I want to take you through is this. So if you as a person, you understand that I'm just going to, if you have low self-worth, I'm going to take you through why this has. I'm going to read this off, but just bear with me for a second. Okay. Without that initial self-worth, a child will put much effort into what he can do for others. So if you don't have high levels of self-worth, here's what's going to start happening to you. So you're going to start doing other things for people. Watch why. Okay. If he cannot be valued for the person he is, so if you cannot have your own self-value, that I'm valuable, I have value as a person, okay, if you don't have that and you don't think like that about yourself, all efforts will become centered on what? Overachievement. Now, I just want to achieve. And watch what he says on being the best. Okay, so you may become a perfectionist, but underlying is low self-worth and low self-esteem. Now watch this. It shifts the center of gravity in that person from an internal psychological stability to an exterior. So now I start focusing what? On the exterior instead of looking on the inside, instead of looking who I am, where's my inclinations, my talents, what I'm genetically encoded for, what Allah has given me on the inside. I start doing what? I start worrying about the outside. And watch what he says next. Okay. To somewhere on the out there in the world, appearance, dress, makeup, and other accessories become too important. Now I start worrying about what? My exterior level. I'm not worried about my brain developing myself as a person. Some of us will, but also for the wrong ideas. And watch what he says here. So now the person starts, look at what he says next. He or she feels that the outside of the body must be perfect because the inside feels insecure. Really think about that. So when we have an exterior appearance, we try to show off our bodies. We try to show off our hair. We try to show off our hijab. We try to show off, I'm on social media and I literally, I'm shirtless, because I want to show off my abs. These are all signs that you're worried about the outside world and you want that attention because you're saying that my abs have value than my interior. I don't like me for me on the inside, like me for my abs, like me for my big house, like me for my car and what I have, like me for the girl that I just objectified because she's pretty and I put her underneath my arm because she gets attention and now she's underneath my arm. So what happens? I have value because the world values that, but I just objectified her. I just made her an object to gain attention. So I have this object, so I gain the attention. Look how it works here. It's so important if you just really understand that. So now, degrees, and listen now to the person who actually is not just about the outside, let's say, exterior of their body or makeup or accessories, these kinds of things. Actually, it can go mental as well. And so watch how he states it. Degrees and titles become overvalued. So this person can start making everything seem so valuable. Why? So why do I start achieving for high academic levels? This can be a problem as well. Some of us don't think like that, but it can be. Why? Because of this. Not just as an achievement. You stop thinking of degree as just an achievement for what they truly are, but for the status. The status. So I'm seeking status. I'm no longer just seeking what? That I'm achieved. I actually want the status of the degree, the status of the PhD. That has low self-worth, can be also within low self-worth. So now understanding that, guys, I just want you to understand that low self-worth can create a lot of problems for a lot of people. And I'm sorry, we're living in the age right now, and it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. Guys, I deal with people across the world, I deal with 10-year-old kids, and I deal with people who are on the cover of Forbes magazine. Doctors, it doesn't matter. Everyone's got problems, and depression is spread all throughout. It's unbelievable. How do you achieve these kinds of things in terms of having a calm nature where you're so stable, like we said yesterday, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. Now, on that level, how do you become so still and you have that power and you don't have the fear comes in, but it's just rejected right back out, and you have that strength to push forward regardless of whatever the situation you're going through. So you want to get to that level. How do you get there? That's general self-confidence. How do you get there? I'm going to take you through the process. Okay. So first we're going to go to self-efficacy, and then self-confidence, then how it connects to self-esteem. Guys, this is the formula. Write this down. If you're taking notes, please write this down. And I want to thank everybody. I received different people actually taking notes. They sent me their notes. Man, it just makes everything so much more powerful when people just do that. And it's guys, please, more than welcome. I have an email on my website. Go send it to Mainstay, whatever. Like, send your feedback. It's so important that we do that. It's so important. Mainstay is an amazing foundation. Like, get involved, get yourself with time, with money, whatever. Volunteer, do whatever it takes to get yourself out of the situations you're in. Decide, make a decision right now. Make a decision today that I'm changing my life. These next 10, 15, 20 days, my life is going to change in the next 30 days. These days of Ramadan are the best of days, and they're the best of nights. Your sleep is counted as worship. It's unbelievable. Take advantage of it. So self-efficacy plus self-confidence equals self-esteem. That's the equation. Take that down. And I'm going to show you how that works. Okay, so we're going to go into it. Now, what is self-efficacy? Self-efficacy, simple. And at the end, what I'm going to do with this is just put an equation together for you guys. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to show you how all three connect. So self-efficacy, this is the first law. Write this down if you're taking self-efficacy. Do I believe in my ability? Meaning, when you as a person, Allah has given you an ability to do things. So right here, I'm lifting this right here. That's an ability. It's control. Allah has given me control over certain things. I can move my mouse. I can do whatever I want in terms of these kinds of things. That's control. That's ability. Now, I have to judge that ability. in terms of what I can do. So if someone challenges me, hey, can you do this in this limited amount of time? That's me. When I say yes or no, that's me checking my ability. Think of it this way. A lot of us, we do a trust fall, and one person is standing up behind us, and we fall, and the person catches us. Now, imagine your own ability is standing behind you. You have to trust it before you go against the challenge, that I can take this on, I could do this. And I'm going to do one presentation later on how to get into flow, which is the highest level of achievement. It's a state of mind. And I'm going to do it, I don't know which night yet, but I'm going to do a presentation about the 8 factors of getting to optimal performance. And what are these 8 factors that actually are connected to flow? So, but here, so on this level, when you fall and your ability has to catch you, meaning you walk into the corridor of uncertainty every day. When you take on a challenge, you don't know. You commit to certain things, and you have to trust your ability that it's going to pull you through. The person with high levels of self-confidence, they trust their ability in the darkness where they can't see. That's how it works. They know what they can do because they've tested themselves over and over and over, and they put themselves in these situations because they know they will beat the situation at the end. That's general self-confidence. This person is unbreakable when they actually take on certain things. So do I believe in my own ability? That's what that means. So it's to be ability to exert, on one's motivation, to exert control over one's motivation, behavior, and social environments. Meaning I have control. I can control things at my power. That's self-efficacy. Okay. Now it's really, I'm not going to go through that, but what I'm going to do is just how to increase self-efficacy is I'm going to show you that it's all about the small little decisions that you make. And yesterday we talked about you don't want to make the decisions that you have to clean up later. And a lot of us, what we do is because we talked about yesterday, we don't have the self-discipline that others have to discipline us. So what? We always making decisions that are the blocks that are going to be put on the wall that we're going to hit. You don't want those decisions, because when you hit that wall, you're going to be traveling very fast. And when you hit it, it's going to rock you, and it's going to really hurt you as a person. Then you're going to have to call someone and your best friend, a psychologist. You're just making continuous bad decisions. And guys, decisions that you make that are bad, most of us don't see what's going to happen. There's no immediate feedback. It's usually 2 to 3 months down the line. And every action and inaction is counted. So you got to be wise with your decision making. And it's here. So getting the small wins, I'm going to show you why that's so important. So self-efficacy, as we talked about, guys, here's what it does. It leads to what? It leads to self-confidence. Okay. But ultimately, I'm going to come back to here. I'm going to show you, well, you know what? I'll go through this right now because I think it's very important as well in terms of this aspect. But guys, really pay attention to this. Okay. So this is what I was talking about earlier in terms of self-efficacy. So self-efficacy, when attempting to succeed, I will create a what? A perspective about my own ability. I touched on this yesterday. I touched a little bit on it yesterday. Okay. So now when I'm trying to gain in life, when I'm actually attempting to gain in life, here's what happens. If I attempt 10 times to gain something, if I attempt 10 times to actually gain something, here's what happens. Here's what happens. And I get 1 out of 10, I'm going to look at life and I'm going to blame life. Okay. That's how I'm going to do. That's what my perspective is. Why? Because everything's unfair. I'm always a victim. Okay. This is this perspective. It's a perspective of failure. Okay. And this is not what you want, guys. This is a person who attempts 10 times and succeeds once. If you have that success rate, that's going to tremendously affect your own perspective of who you are. And we talked about results yesterday, and connect that to yesterday's lecture. If you didn't watch that lecture, go back and watch it. Now, if let's say as a person, I start saying, you know what, I don't want to blame the world. I want to take responsibility for my own actions. I'm the one that's responsible. I'm the one that has to take control. I'm the one that has that ability in my hands, and I'm going to believe in it. And I'm going to trust my ability. So you're going to gain three things when that happens. You're going to get a perspective of failure, a perspective of chance, and success is a formula. Watch this. When you get this, this is what you're going to get. Perspective of chance is this. You're going to get 5 out of 10. Let's say 5 out of 10. I'm just lucky. I don't know. You know, it wasn't really, it's a feeling that you get. Here is victimization. The world has victimized me. The world is unfair. It's very immature. I'm always blaming people. I'm never saying I'm sorry. Or some people, they blow up and they say I'm sorry all the time, but it's always the victim. I have a broken wing and I don't know how to fix it. And I'm depending on others, but guess what? They're always failing me. I'm never failing myself. I'm never to blame. It's not me. It's always the world. That's a very immature perspective. And watch what happens when you gain the right perspectives when you do the right things. So now, let's say you get 5 out of 10. You're going to get a perspective of luck, but it's an emotion that it's there. That it's not really me. Oh, you know, I succeeded, but it's not really my effort. It feels like I'm a fraud. It feels like I'm a person I cheated the system, but I put on all the effort to gain, but you feel like that it's not me. Okay. That's a person who gains maybe 5 out of 10. And a person who's truly responsible and is always gaining, you know, high levels and high achievement factors. Okay. This is a person who starts believing that success is a formula, meaning I have to have the right equipment internally. And when I apply the equipment on the situations and challenges of life, I succeed. This person starts realizing that there's a formula to life. And it's knowledge, the right knowledge, downloading the right software, which is the right knowledge for your brain, okay? Applying that knowledge through wisdom upon a situation and creating amazing results. That's the formula. You'll figure that out. There, I just highly, highly recommend heavy levels of mentorship. And guys, please, please really pay attention to this. I've mentored thousands of people, I would say, okay? And I cannot tell you something that's more worth than the next concept that's going to come out of my mouth. If you can get yourself a high-level mentor, please do so. That person will take you through enormous amount of knowledge, wisdom with tremendous speed. What mentors do is the gap for learning, they make it shorter. What's going to take you 2 years to learn on your own will take a person to teach you 2 days. It's incredible what mentors can do. Please find yourself a great mentor. Now you understand this concept. Let's go to how self-esteem, self-efficacy, which is your belief in your own ability, will lead to what? Self-confidence. And let's find out what self-confidence is, okay? So self-confidence refers to the belief to belief in one's likelihood to succeed. Think about this, guys. Think about this guy. Think about when you predict. It's really your predictive power. Do I and can I achieve and reach my goal? That's the belief number 2. So belief number 1, my belief in my own ability. If I truly believe in my ability, because I tested myself over and over and over and over, and I'm always hitting 10 out of 10, guess what? When I predict, when I'm going after the next challenge, and I predict my outcome, either the challenge is going to beat me or I'm going to beat the challenge. What do you think is going to happen? I'm going to have high levels of self-confidence. And now let me give you some scientific aspects in terms of how we test self-confidence. So one of the concepts that we do is we'll tell you that here's 2 sheets of paper with words on them, okay? You have sheet A and sheet B, and there's words on each sheet. Then we'll tell you to memorize that in terms of psychology. This is a psychological study. And what they then tell you, they'll take the papers away after you've memorized them, and they'll say a word on one of the sheets. And then they'll ask you, on which sheet was that word on? You'll say, let's say A. This is how we test confidence here in the next question. Then we'll tell you, how confident are you? And we'll give you a scale from 1 to 10. It's your predictive power. It's that confidence in your answer when you speak. Is it cut to the point of truth? Or there's hesitation in your emotional state where you're not sure? That's how it works. If you can gain that certainty and that confidence in who you are, Ya ayyuhan nafsul mutma'inna, oh, that soul that's secure. It's secure. Okay? It doesn't have doubt in its answer. It knows where it's going. It's absolutely confident that Imam Hussein alayhi salam, when Allahu Akbar, and the adhan goes off in the middle of battle, and now it's time, the principle is dictating the situation where it's time for prayer and it's in the middle of battle, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam he starts praying. That's that principle. I'm certain, regardless of the storm and the chaos that's going on around me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. My principle dictates, and I don't have the fear of what the situation is going to entail. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, if you fear something, dive straight into it, because the intensity of abstaining from it is greater than you diving straight into it. So understand, it gives you tremendous ability when you have that confidence to press forward regardless of the fear. So do I believe that I can reach my goal? Do I believe I can reach that destiny? Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it's literally his life was taken, but his principles live. That now, in terms of this kind of power, he's got millions and millions and millions of people that follow him. He didn't die. His name didn't die. Why? Because his principles are alive. That's what happens when you stand for principle. You go towards self-respect, self-dignity, and honor. That's what happens. Now, from here, if you gain that self-confidence and you are a person that's that capable, here's what happens. It leads to what? Higher performance. This is what actually studies show. But this is just a side concept, because I'm going to introduce a different concept here. So just bear with me for a minute. This just is a side concept. Guys, once performance is needed, it depends on your confidence. So if listen, let's say you watch football, basketball, hockey, whatever you watch, you know those momentum shifts, and all of a sudden your team is winning and everything is going great, but then the whole momentum shifts. One guy creates a play and everything just shifts out of nowhere. You know what happens when they study these things? It's actually a confidence shift. The person loses, or the team, they lose confidence. But then they're losing, they're like kind of on their heels, they're going back. Then they make one play that shifts the confidence again. And once that confidence shifts again, then they go back on top. So as confidence goes up, performance goes up. These are correlated. They're correlated, guys. Psychological studies, that's what they indicate. So if you want to perform at higher levels, make sure you start getting the results from self-efficacy, okay, that lead to self-confidence, where you cannot predict. Let's say I'm very capable. I look at my ability as capable. And then from here, I can predict against my future challenges that I can beat them. Then from there, as my confidence and my ability goes up, my performance will go up. Now, guys, let's do it, okay? I'm gonna show you how it works. And I'm gonna give you an equation here, and the way this is gonna be set up is to kind of take you through the next level and to see how self-esteem is connected to these two concepts, which is self-efficacy plus self-confidence will equal what? Self-esteem. So now, let's go to the first one. So self-efficacy, we said, is what? Kind of, this is going to be a little test for you. So self-efficacy, put that on your paper. If you're following along, put that on your paper. Okay, and what is that? I'm going to give you a second to kind of write what that is underneath. So there's going to be a little exam for you. I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to do it. I already put up the answer, but it's okay. So self-efficacy is, do I believe in my own ability? And always remember that trust fall. And imagine there's no one behind you but your own self, your own ability catching you. Can you believe in yourself to that extent? Okay. Now, here, what I want you to do is this. Give yourself a score from 1 to 10. How much do you really believe that you can accomplish things? How much do you really believe in your own ability? That Allah has given you certain inclinations. And guys, I want to give you something that's very important. Listen, a lot of us, we measure ourselves against other people that have different talents than us. Don't do that. Your talent is this, and really pay attention, please. Your talent is like an island that's like a pinhole in the universe of your own mind. Your mind is a universe. It's vast. And there's a small little pinhole island that you have to find because that's your uniqueness. Otherwise, you're going to be in the middle of the ocean struggling for your whole life. Find that island, because when you get on that island, when you find it, that's your talent. And when you find your talent and what you're genetically encoded for, it's on the inside. It's not you comparing yourself to anybody. So now when you find the island, everything becomes easy. Money becomes easy. Your time is in your hand. Relationships are amazing. You set up yourself in such an amazing way because it's easy for you. It comes easy to you, and it's very difficult for others. So that's a talent. When something is very difficult to do, that you can do easily, but it's still very difficult for others. So on this level, okay, what you want to do is dig inside yourself and hone that ability. Why? Because this is what you want to do. When you find that island and that pinhole that's a talent, dump all your time, all your energy, all your effort, all your money, everything into it. Dump it into that. What happens if you dump yourself into your talent? You become more rare. And once you become more rare, you become more expensive. It's all about your talent. Think of the best NBA players, the best football players, the best in anything. They're the most expensive people. Why? Because they have the most expensive ideas in their minds. I don't care if you're shooting a basketball. It's that talent of that flick of the wrist. That's an idea that's in the mind first. So that's how you become more expensive as a person. So please, if you suffer from low self-esteem, if you suffer from depression, if you suffer from any of these things, understand, here's the key. It's about building results. Now, what happens, give yourself from 1 to 10 in terms of this, okay? Give yourself that aspect. And now, what happens from here? We said that self-efficacy leads to self-confidence, right? In terms of this. Now, what is, I'm going to give you another 5 seconds. What is self-confidence? What is it? Okay. What is it? There's a whole nother level in terms of this, but I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to answer. Go ahead and do so. And here comes the answer. It's the second law of belief. Do I believe that I can get and reach my goal? Do I believe that I can reach my goals? It's a prediction about your ability. It's a prediction that I'm capable, and I can go up there and I can do this presentation, and I can do it tremendously, and I'm going to nail it. Okay. And there's some videos I have up there about presentations and being able to present and what happens with the fight and flight system. Look for that. It'll give you an understanding a little bit more about what happens to us on a physiological level. But it's you predicting against the challenge, your ability against the challenge. That's what you're doing. So do I believe that I can reach my goal? Now, what's the next one? Self-esteem is next. Self-efficacy plus self-confidence equals what? I'm sorry, before I do that, give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on that level. And when you do that, here's what I want you to do, okay? From here, you're gonna be able to add this score plus this score, and it's gonna give you what, guys? Here's what it's gonna give you. It's gonna give you the results of your own self esteem. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see that your self-efficacy, which is a belief about your own ability, and it's going to give you the results of your own value and how much you really like or dislike yourself. And from here, let's say it's a 20. Hey, mic drop to you. It's all good. I hope you're at that level. But then it becomes a different challenge when you're that capable, because now you can lead. There's other challenges that can lead you to arrogance. So you got to be very careful when you're capable as well. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, وَأَعِزَّنِي وَلَا تَبْتَلِيَنِّي بِالْكِبْرِ. He says, honor me. I want to be honored. This is great results, but don't afflict me with arrogance. So there's a chance here that you may become arrogant. So you got to be careful. That's just a little side note. All right, guys. So I'm going to give you a little bit more about what happens on a physiological level. Guys, at the end of the day, there's more to this, by the way. There's this class that I have on my website, and it kind of triggers to a whole nother level where it shows you different levels going down from here, from self-esteem, and where is self-esteem and stuff like that. That's called the Science of Self-Confidence on the website, but I'm not going to do that here because I'm going to harm those people that have actually taken the class, and I don't want to do that. But I'm giving you the first gist of this so you understand it. These are going across in terms of horizontal. There's a vertical end to this presentation. Excuse me, and I don't want to do that for people who have actually gone through that, and but from there, I'm going to show you that this is like human engineering. We're geared to actually be engineered as people, and from here, I want you to understand that what you tell yourself is very important. I'm going to show you why. What you experience is very important. I'm going to show you why, and I'm going to show you what happens with your chemical streams, even in your own brain, and how that works on these kinds of levels. Guys, these are the best nights to do this with. And I want you to understand that if you are a person who is lacking the discipline that we talked about yesterday, who doesn't believe very highly in their own self-efficacy, in their own ability. And because, let's say, others make fun of you. Let's say people have done you wrong. Let's say people have, please drop the blame perspective. Please, I'm begging you, because all it's doing is it's hurting you. Because why? What sits behind blame is anger. And anger cannot exist without blame. And anger is a poison that we inject into ourselves for someone else's mistake. I'm going to repeat that. Anger is a poison that we inject into ourselves for someone else's mistake. So be very careful with your heart and how you treat it, because it's your job to take care of it. I'm not telling you anger is not needed. Imam Ali on the other side says you are as brave as how much anger you can muster. You need anger when a situation, when you need aggression, when you need to stand up for what you believe in, when someone's beating up your mother or wife or somebody you care about, you need anger. Otherwise, you're looked at as a coward. So everything needs wisdom. It needs to be applied through wisdom. When to push forward and be aggressive, and when to hold back and be passive. So from here, if you lack in these things, please, please take care of yourself. Drop that blame victim perspective. Drop it. It only harms you. If you haven't gotten great results from life, it's okay. It's okay. Every day is an opportunity. Every second of your day is an opportunity. Every moment that God gives you is an opportunity. So take it on. Take on life. Don't succumb to it and let it break you to your knees. Don't do that. Stand up. I talk to people, and sometimes they're 60 years old and they throw in the towel. I can't take it anymore because the challenges and burdens are so heavy. Stand up proudly and hold those challenges on your shoulders and walk as far as you can. You need to do that in life. You know what kind of will that creates? It's that friction between the challenge and your ability. That's what creates flow. And don't make bad decisions that overwhelm you. Don't do that. Organize and prioritize yourself and watch what happens terms of the emotions that you feel. Depression will not even know you. It won't even come to you in terms of, because you're vibrating at different levels in terms of who you are on the inside. It's incredible what happens to you. So now, guys, I'm going to show you what happens with a person earns this level of self-esteem, high self-worth. They understand who they are. They're confident when they make decisions, and they see through wisdom. They see the right choice. It's like when you're looking at an exam and it's multiple choice, and the answer, you just read the first part of the question and the answer just jumps out to you. You're that confident. I know I got this right. I know I aced this exam. I know I got this job. I know I'm going to beat this depression. I know I'm going to beat this habit and temptation. I'm going to do it. This is mental muscle. Build that mental muscle, not just physical muscle. Build that mental muscle. So watch this, guys. I'm not going to go through all this, but please, I'm going to take you through what happens when you have the blame perspective or the responsibility perspective. And really think about this. I'm going to give you an analogy, and so you understand this. And I'm going to read some of this off to you guys, and we'll be done with the presentation. I'm going to kind of finalize this with the final kind of analogy. And imagine you have just amazing car you just bought. It's your favorite car. You sleep with the brochure before you got the car. Okay, so and this is like your dream car. You're the person who parks the car at the end of the parking lot, and you park it in two spots where nobody can ding your car. Okay, so now you walk into the store, you park your car, and you come out and you do all the precautionary moves to keep your car away from somebody hitting it. And what happens? You come out and somebody hits your car. Watch this. I'm going to show you something that's very powerful. And please learn how to do this. Have a 5-second memory in life. It's not worth it. I'm not telling you not to contemplate on things. And I have a video about putting your problems on the shelf. Find that on YouTube and other places. I have a lot of videos on this stuff, guys. So even on the website, there's a lot of material, reading material. Find it, go there and watch. Just so build yourself by dumping the right information into your mind. And it's amazing what happens. Now, you come up to the car, and here's what happens. You see your car. What did the person do? All they did, they hit the car. Now it's their responsibility to fix it. So what did they do? They left you responsibility. That's what they did. They literally left you responsibility, which is going to cost you time and money. That's what it's going to cost. And then from there, they left it. Here's what happens to most of us. We get so mad, we even kick our own car, because the world now is what? Unfair. I'm in blame mode. I'm going to blame the world. I don't care. Once you do that, we just said that anger cannot exist without blame. It means I want you to think about your perspective. Think of a camera that has exchangeable lenses. Okay? Your perspective is a camera without a lens. What you just did is you put on the lens of blame. So now you're looking through the lens of blame, which is what? Anger is right behind it, and your ego is going to get inflamed because you want to kill people now. And you feel like people, and now people all over, people suck, you hate people, everybody, the world's unfair, everything happens to you that's so bad. That's how you start blaming life. And guys, I'm going to really say this, and some of us, we say these things, and please pay attention. We even say God, why are you doing this to me? Why me? I've been so good to you. Why are you doing this to me? Please understand, when you say that, what you're doing is you're blaming God, because you're angry with God. You can do anything. God, please, you can do anything. Why are you doing this to me? It's very easy for you to remove this. Why are you doing this to me? In the Quran, it says, "Inna Allah la yadlumu an-nasa shay'an, walakinna an-nasa anfusahum yadlumun." God does not oppress anyone, but people oppress themselves. So when you're in that angered state, please watch your thoughts. Watch where you go with your emotions. Please be very careful, because if you lock this lens into perspective, you have no idea what you're doing to yourself. and you think you're ever going to feel positive emotions? You think you're going to go into spiral in negativity? So watch this. A person who blames, watch the chemical structure. Okay, your cortisol level is high, so you are more stressed and anxious. So when the person is like that, guess what? They're always in this mode, and they release cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. And when they're stressed, guess what? Anxious. Anxiousness can lead to depression and all other things like that. Okay, where I'm always in a state of loss. Depression, one of the causes of depression is loss. So from here, why does your mind do this? Your mind has a record. Remember what we said yesterday. Your mind has a record of your experiences, and it calculates how frequently you have been successful versus what? Unsuccessful. It is a directory. It has that. It keeps tally of the score. Now, why does it do that? The reason why your brain does that is because to calibrate how anxious you should be in any given situation. It's giving you your confidence for later. It's keeping a tally of your score, meaning like, listen, you're really bad at this, and it knows it. Your brain knows it. So the next time this situation comes up, guess what? It's going to turn on your fight and flight system. It's going to dump cortisol, and you're going to flee. You're going to run away. You're not going to take it on. We said what? What did Imam Ali alayhi salam say? He says, if you fear something, dive straight into it, because the intensity of abstaining from it is harder. It's more intense than what? Going through it. It's that fear. Now, I'm not telling you not to have positive fear. Positive fears versus negative fear is completely different. I have presentations on that in terms of if you want to follow or look at those things on YouTube and other places. There's presentations on that as well. So there's positive fear as well. But from there, okay, watch this. Here's the mind does that. It keeps a directory. The more unsuccessful you are, okay, the more danger your brain perceives any situation. So now you start looking at any situation as what? Dangerous. So when any situation comes to you, automatically it triggers you, and now you become, life's unfair. And I don't believe in my ability. You're sinking even further. Okay? Your brain is handing you this. And now this puts you on a consistent high alert. So you become literally like paranoid. Guys, it's all about consistent results. You want consistent confidence, create consistent results, and learn that failure is part of the consistency of those results. I'm going to give you this real quick, and I'm not going to go too far into it because I need to say that just a little bit, but failure has, you know what, I'm going to leave it for next time because I have a presentation on that. So look forward the next time, but I'm going to skip this, then I'm going to go to the responsibility aspect. So I want you to calculate between this lens of blame and the lens of responsibility. Then I'm going to finish off the whole analogy for you. So now this person, watch this. So the person whose car, they actually got hit and they put on the blame perspective, they're going to release cortisol, stress, and guess what? Every person they see now, what are they going to, they're going to tell them the story. So it's like a cloud following them around of depression, of anxiousness. The world is horrible. Why can people do that? They don't understand. They don't want to let go. Now, I want to show you what happens when a person shifts into the responsibility factor and the lens of responsibility. Watch what happens. Now, you go out to your car, you realize that, you know what, this is unfair. It is unfair because what they did is wrong. But I can blame and say, you know what, and hurt myself and inject myself with anger. Or I can do this. I can say, you know what, I understand. I understand you don't want to take care of your responsibility, but I'm not going to inject your poison of your lack of responsibility into me. I'm going to take responsibility for it because you left it for me anyway. And what happens here? When you decide to put on the responsibility lens, please pay attention. What you're doing is you're taking control of the situation. You're saying, this is my responsibility. I'm taking it over. This is for you to keep psychological and emotional health. where you reject the poison of the other person. You reject the anger and you say, you know what? I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to stay collected and I'm going to do this right. So now what you do is, here's the main thing between the two lenses. If you put on the blame perspective, you're always going to be looking backwards and it's going to be negative because you're going to be reliving the event. So the next day, you still feel bad. You look at your car, you feel bad. You tell your friend, you rerun the same record of your history, and you bring back the same negative emotions. So you're always looking backwards and it's negative. Here's what happens when you put on the responsibility lens. Pay attention. You're always looking forward because now I'm responsible. So what? I have to solve this issue. So watch what you start doing. It's a completely different set of actions that will occur. And here's what happens. When you put on the responsibility lens, you start looking forward and it's positive. Why? Because now you start looking around. You say, you know what? I'm responsible to solve this issue. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see if there's any cameras around. Because if this is my problem, I have to solve it. I'm going to see if somebody saw something. And I'm going to ask different people. And I look at the paint. And then what? I see maybe there's red marks that actually, when they hit the car, I know the car that hit me was red. I start looking into these kinds of things because I'm proactive, not reactive. I'm looking forward. That's what happens. Guys, it takes a lot of strength to be able to do that. I know it's not easy, but you want to see someone who's constructed differently as a human being. It's literally, when I tell you human engineering, you are engineering yourself with every single decision you make. You either can take this on and be like this for the rest of your life, it's up to you, or you could take complete responsibility for who you are. And once you do that, man, what happens in terms of the energy that you have as a person? No one can touch you. No one, because they won't be able to deregulate you emotionally. So now when the responsibility takes over, here's what happens. This person is actually shown. So imagine people facing two people. One has a responsibility lens, one has a blame lens, and they're both looking at the same situation. Here's what happens, guys. This person, they're both facing a fearful situation. This person will release serotonin, which is higher, and you are what? Serotonin is higher, and then you are calmer. They're actually more in a calm state. This person releases cortisol, and guess what? They're stressed and they're anxious. You know what happens when you're stressed and you're anxious? Your limbic system takes over, which is the emotional center of your brain. And studies indicate that about 90% of your cognitive power shuts down. You will just be black and white. You're impulsive in your thinking. You're impulsive in your decisions. Versus someone who's calm and collected. So you have the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic. This one is completely engaged. So the chemical streams that actually get released physiologically in your brain are actually different. Guys, this happens only when you have high levels of self-esteem. You know you have high confidence. And I want to end with this. I just want you to imagine that when death comes to you, it's going to come to all of us. Will you release serotonin and you're going to be calm and collected, like the Quran states, وَتَمَنَّوُا الْمَوْتِ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Long for death if you have the truth, you're confident in your truth, and you can predict where you're going. Are you going to be like that? Will you welcome death even like Imam Ali alayhi salam, when on that day he was stroking his beard? And he says, when will this, his hair, cover blood, his beard, cover his beard with blood? And imagine walking towards the mosque when you know you're going to be struck. Can you walk towards death like that? Will you release the serotonin? Or will you be that person that gets so surprised by death? Maybe you're right now in a state where you're depressed. Maybe right now you're in a state where you're anxious, you're stressed. There's a lot of things happening in your life. Make that change. Don't be this person that's full of anger, stress, anxiety. And when even the fear of death does not swell in your heart, and it cannot even touch you, when you can take responsibility for everything that you do. So guys, I just want to say, for me, I'm so grateful to be doing this stuff, because guys, I wasn't always capable in my belief in my own ability. I didn't have always the confidence that I may possess now. And even when that happens, you may not even possess self-esteem. But I had to work so hard to be able to earn some of this stuff. Then to be able to teach it is an honor. I'm grateful for all the people. I just want to say, this is a message now for all the people who have taught me as a person. I'm grateful for every one of you. I'm grateful for every letter that you taught me. And I'm grateful for me being a person who chose to listen. So guys, please listen and take yourself to the next level. And there's always people that are willing to do anything for you in terms of that level. So I want to thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Tune in. It's going to be every day on the broadcast within Mainstay. And I'm going to take you through the next maybe 28, or we said, we started a day late, but the next about 29 nights, we're going to go through just all about self-building and bringing yourself to the highest form of self-esteem. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.